Okay, we are back and let's continue working on the uh, enemy AI system. And in this video, we will make our enemy to actually move towards our player and to chase our player. And well, to achieve that, we will need to make some few things. So let's open our enemy controller script and we will create another function. Well, obviously, our enemy should can chase right here after when our distance is less than detecting range, but instead we're gonna create another void function just to make our code more clear, because it's very important to write clear codes in general, because especially if you're working in the team, it's very useful to write lines as clear as possible. Even if you're indie game developer, you want to create solo games and stuff like that, after a few days when you go back to your script, you might not understand what and why you did it. So it's very important to comment as much as you can your lines of code. I don't know if I told you how to comment. Basically, to comment, you just need to type these two slashes just like this, and then everything becomes green, and it means that it's just comment, it's not the actual part of our code. For example, I comment our player movement script. As you see, I comment pretty much everything. But anyway, let's create another function. So void, and well, let's call it something. For example, move towards, just like this, open and close curly brackets. And now, in order everything to work, first of all, we need to take our player's position and store the information about player's position into some new vector-free variable. So we will say vector-free, and let's call this one player position, and it will be equal to our player dot transform dot position. Okay. Next step will be to have some direction, and we will also need to have some variable, some container. So we will create vector free. Let's call this one direction. And well, it should basically calculate direction from our enemy to our player. And to do that, we can say in brackets player position, which is our new variable, minus our enemy's position, which is transform dot position. And after our brackets, I will say dot normalized. Don't get confused with normalize. Normalized just makes the magnitude to be 1, and it will make everything to go smoothly. Now that we have direction, and also we are storing information about our player's position, we can basically say that our enemy, so transform.position, should be equal, and we can use vector3.moveTowards method. And basically, this move towards allows us to move game object towards different game object. In this case, we're gonna move our enemy, which is transform.position, as we know, towards our player. So, comma, player position. Also, we can have some speed. So I will say, comma, move speed, and we will multiply it to time dot delta time for this smooth movement. And we can basically save this script. So we just needed player's position, which stores information about player, players X, Y, and Z. That's why we are creating vector free here. Then we needed direction from the player to the enemy. And then we are just using vector3.moveTowards method. Oh, I forgot to call this function. We should call this function here. So we will say move towards, bracket, semicolon, and we can save this script. Now, we will have few problems with it. And let me show you how to deal with them and what problems are they. So let our script compile. Let's select we have everything. We just need to assign player here. So we are just finding player with a tag, so doesn't really matter. Okay. Well, I will make the detecting range to be a little bit bigger, so 6. For example, let's hit play and let's check if the enemy is following our player. Well, range is not 6 just yet, so let's go closer. And yeah, he is, as you see, following us, but he's in the air. And if I jump, he goes in the even more in height. And also he's not rotating correctly. So we have two problems. Enemy is not rotating correctly, and also our enemy's height is bad. Let's fix all of the problems. First of all, to rotate our enemy correctly, it's very simple. We just need to say transform dot look at, and we will say here player position. So our enemy will always look towards our player, and it will fix our rotation. But what to do with the height? And that's one of the most problems that I see with the beginners, because it seems that we have nice script and everything should work, but well, we are calculating our direction with the player's position, and player's position contains the x, y, and z. Our player can jump indeed, so we need to change this y position sometimes, but our enemy is not able to jump, right? So we need to only care about x and z of the player's position. And what we can do, instead of saying player.transform.position, we can create, we'll delete this, and instead we will create new vector free, and in brackets we can say player.transform.position.x, comma, and for the y, we're not gonna take player's y position, we're gonna take enemy's y position. So enemy will stay like this in the vertical axis, just like he is right now. He won't be able to go in the air and chill in the air and walk in the air. He will always stay on the ground like this. So we will say transform.position.y, and for the z, we will take our player's z position. So player.transform.position.z. So only thing that we changed is that we took our player's x and z position, but we did not took y position. Instead, we took our enemy's y position, and it will make, as I said, our enemy to stay on the ground and not follow our player while our player is in the air, is jumping or stuff like that. And we can save the script, and now let's hit play and let's check once again. Also, we should check rotation. Yeah, rotation is working, and enemy is staying in the ground. No matter if we jump or not, he is in the ground. So very nice. Well, our enemy doesn't have any collider, so we can go through our enemy right now, which is funny. But yeah, indeed, he's chasing us.